National Union of Ghana Students, NUGS, is protesting threats by vice-chancellors of public tertiary institutions in Ghana to close down the various institutions if government fails to pay arrears of utility bills. Now, the universities have warned that failure to settle the debts by government will leave them no choice than to push the cost to students. And this afternoon, I do have in the studio Parkwesi Edu. He is the president of the National Union of Ghana Students. Good afternoon and thanks for your time. Now, there's been a lot of back and forth regarding this very issue, and you were telling me in the studio before we started this interview that yesterday there was some sort of demonstration, and that was done by some SRC executives of some tertiary institutions. Is NUGS in support of that?
First of all, a good afternoon to our viewers and especially the students of Ghana. Let me start from where the whole issue came. The SRC executive of some tertiary institutions, especially public universities across this country, met VC Ghana yesterday at University of Professional Studies, Accra. The meeting was solely between the VC Ghana and some the SRC executive. And NUGS was not part of that meeting, but it is proper to put on record that these SRC executives are also members of the National Union of Ghana Students, just that the leadership of the union was not part of that meeting. But I went there to observe, as president, I went there to observe what was going on. And at the meeting, the VC Ghana made the students aware that there was a debt regarding the utility bills, and they needed the students to contribute by paying part of all these utility bills. But the students of Ghana stated, or those who gathered, they stated that they can't pay the fees. That is where the VCs came to that. If that's the case, then they would have to close down the university. But my sister, you would agree with me to understand that here the VCs have some authority or somehow some power, or the universities have some level of autonomosity, but they don't have the total say to close down the universities of Ghana. So as a result of the displeasure of the students who gathered there and realizing that no, they can't pay, they have to go to the Parliament House to register their displeasure about the statement from the VC Ghana. So basically that's what's happened.
Now, to clarify this, did NUGS, of which these SRC heads are part of, have any assurance from government, from cabinet, from the Ghana Education Service that this debt will be cleared by government?
Yeah, the government of Ghana, through the Ministry of Education, in June this year, issued a statement, a letter to some stakeholders, of which NUGS is one, stating that the cabinet of the Republic of Ghana has not directed any utility providers to disconnect any of the institutions, and have also not asked the students of Ghana to pay any utility bills, which implies that government is responsible for the payment of the utility bills. So if VC Ghana have realized that government is not paying, and government of course is the employer or the VC Ghana, they should go to their employers.
So that point was made clear?
Yeah.
And they copied the VC Ghana? Were they aware?
I think they should be aware.
So
because we have been copied.
If these SRC heads were aware that government indicated that they will clear the debt, why did they still go ahead after such a meeting to Parliament?
Yeah, maybe because they feel that according to VC Ghana, government has asked them to raise money within, that is an internal generating fund, or a mean that they can raise money within the university system to pay these utility bills. And the VC Ghana came out to say that they have not been able to raise money to pay the debts, and the service providers are on their neck demanding for these monies. That is why they are of the view that if the students of Ghana could contribute in a way to help salvage the problem, that is why they were proposing that the students of Ghana contribute. But the truth is that if government has come out to say this, you have to go back to government. And we are also want government to come very clear on this. If you are not paying the bills, tell the VC Ghana you are not paying the bills. Then we students will also come out clearly to question you why you say you will not pay the bill. But when you say you are paying the bill, or you've not asked students to pay, but you equally are asking the leadership of the universities to raise money to pay the bill, then you are putting the students of Ghana in a very serious dilemma.
Okay, now I'll hold you here and speak with Naya Berima. He is the Communications Manager of the Ghana Water Company Limited. Good afternoon, Naya. Can you hear me, Nanayao?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Now, how much do these public institutions, as the tertiary institutions or the Ghana Water Company?
In fact, the total amount of indebtedness of the tertiary institutions to Ghana Water Company, I do not have the figure right now, but I can talk about University of Ghana. As at March this year, University of Ghana was owing Ghana Water Company to the tune of 15 million Ghana cedis.
Okay.
But I do not have the total for all the tertiary institutions in the country, but I can only talk about University of Ghana as at March 2015. That was 15 million Ghana cedis. Yep.
Now, have you received any directive or message from the Ministry of Education clearly stating that they will absorb the cost? And do you in any way intend cutting supply to these institutions?
Yes, cutting supply to the institutions is something that we do not intend to do right now. In fact, somewhere in the middle of the beginning of this year, in fact, we went and even disconnected University of Science and Technology, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Kumasi. But later, there was a directive that came from a cabinet to the effect that those institutions should not be disconnected. But it did not say we should not collect monies from them, but we only asked not to disconnect them. So currently what we are doing is to enter into some kind of arrangement with them, with the authorities, so that there could be a payment plan between us and them, so that we will know how they will pay their bills. But as for disconnecting them, it is not something that we intend to do immediately.
Okay.
But one thing that we are also doing is that we are trying to identify the various points at the universities, especially the commercial interests that are on the various campuses. Because if you go to the universities and the polytechnics, you find banks, you find churches, you find shopping malls, you find even lecturers' bungalows there. So we are trying to isolate all these areas so that we can possibly meter them and build them separately so that they become directly our customers. Okay. Because as of now, we know the universities or the polytechnics are single customers of the Ghana Water Company. We do not have the various commercial institutions on the campuses or the lecturers' bungalows or the lecturers as our customers. We build the institution as single entities, but now we are trying to identify all these various entities on the various campuses so we can meter them and build them. And once we start metering them and billing them individually, it will be very easy for us to go to them and demand payment for the bills that they are owing.
If I can catch you there, you are interacting with the school authorities, but have you also had any form of interaction with government regarding the payment? Quickly.
Not directly with government now, but I think somewhere in June or May, there was a meeting between all the MDAs and Ghana Water Company, and then the Ministry of Water Resources, Works and Housing. So there, it was said that the MDAs must make arrangements to pay their bills. But it is not something that government is directly going to pay. It is rather the MDAs or the institutions that are supposed to pay. Even currently, I can talk about Kolebu Teaching Hospital. They have started making payments. And then the second sector institutions have also started payment. So it is not government that we are going to demand the money from, but it is the various institutions that are responsible for paying their own bills. And that is why we are dealing directly with them.
All right, well, thank you very much for that time and for going to speak with us. That was Nane Alberma, Communications Manager for the Ghana Water Company. I'm sure you heard him, and you heard his last statement.
Yeah.
And yesterday, NUGS was on radio with the Deputy Minister of Education in charge of tertiary.
NUGS?
On radio.
No.
Not too clear on that.
Yes, because as far as I'm aware, as a president, NUGS hasn't been on radio with Deputy. Maybe it's one other student maybe who was speaking, perhaps as an individual student, but not in the capacity or in the for NUGS. So
now you heard what he said, that the institutions are supposed to pay, and we're still hearing that government says it will pay. When was the last time NUGS as a body had an interaction with government regarding this issue, and has there been any conclusion on it?
Yeah, there was a meeting between the leadership of NUGS and the Ministry of Education, of course representing the government of Ghana. That was held last year or early part of this year. That was before we came into office, and it was as a result of some of our institutions being disconnected, and then we call on the ministry, therefore the government of Ghana. That is why they came out to state clearly that they were directing the utility providers not to disconnect any of these institutions, and also the government have not rescinded its decision of paying the utility bills for students, and have also indicated in that letter that they have not asked any students of Ghana to pay for utility bills. So if the government has directed these institutions or these service providers to the institutions to take their money from them, and the institutions could not raise the money, then I think it is proper government coming, like I mentioned earlier, to state its position clearly. Because
have you tried reaching them?
Yeah, we when the issue came up yesterday, I spoke with the Deputy Minister of Education, Honorable Kujota Blacko, and he indicated that there will be a meeting that will involve all the key stakeholders as far as this issue is concerned. That will be next week. Yeah, the meeting will be next week, and so at that meeting we will surely state our position.
But you don't know the exact day? No,
he has not mentioned the day. We are preparing to come up with our position on this particular issue by the close of this evening.
There are some concerns that colleagues like yourself are in other private schools who are probably not from very good homes or very rich homes, but they're still paying for such facilities.
Yeah, nobody would dispute that fact that we have colleagues who are in private institutions, but they are paying. But my sister, this is a policy that was introduced. It started in 1997, which we popularly call the Akosombo Accord, and the policy boiled down about the cost sharing. That's the cost sharing policy, where government is taking 70%, or in a better way, government has sustained 70% of subventions on the fees paid by students. Now, if government feel that policy that it formulated and it's being implemented, there is a challenge with the policy, it is better to revisit that policy and come out with a different policy. But where you have not amended that policy, and then you just want to take some components of the policies away, then you are being unfair to us, the students of Ghana.
Do you think students should pay?
No. We can't pay.
Why?
No, my sister, students of Ghana are already overburdened with fees. There are students who could not even register because they couldn't pay their fees, and they are being made to defer their programs. There are students who are five. They are the first child among 5 children from their homes. Some of them are not coming from Accra. They come from villages. They rent a room for themselves. They have to pay for other things, and they have to pay for their fees. And because they couldn't pay their fees, they are being made to defer their programs. And beyond this, you expect students of Ghana to pay utility bills. We can't just pay. Government should come and pay these bills.
Thank you very much, Paul Kwesi Edu. He's the president of NUGS, and we're looking at concerns that have arisen regarding Vice Chancellor's meeting with some heads, and they mentioning that they will close down some of these institutions if they aren't able to pay their utility bills arrears. And he's mentioned that they're going to meet the ministry sometime next week. We'll bring you some more updates as and when we have them.